Alright, so somebody asked my opinion on Andre Ward. He's a retired boxer, undefeated. I'm gonna read the message and I'm gonna just respond back with what I had to say about him. So, what are your thoughts on Andre Ward, who is a 2004 Olympic gold medalist, multiple weight division champion from 160 middleweight to 168 super middleweight, and won the light heavyweight title against a much bigger and larger opponent who hit harder and who Ward knocked out also. Andre Ward has been compared to Bruce Lee in some ways in boxing because of his style and how he adapts to his opponents and makes adjustments. A boxing reporter called him the antithesis of whoever he fights and the most complete boxer. And he has studied JKD philosophies like your strong lead forward, which he fights orthodox with his strong left forward, but switches on occasion to his natural southpaw for a round or two, and has quoted Bruce Lee in some interviews I've seen, and similar perhaps to Bruce, has analyzed and incorporated some techniques from past boxers into his arsenal. Just wanted your thoughts about Ward since he retired recently, pretty young, because boxing is dangerous and had nothing else to prove in his own words. So I don't know that much about Andre Ward. I actually don't. The first time that I heard about him was from one of my students. Told me about him in the most recent fight that he had. And then when I saw that fight, the most recent one, they said that he won the fight, but he didn't win easily. He had a hard time winning, and as far as what I saw in his last fight, I wasn't impressed because he barely won. And he just didn't look like he was that good. But now that I know more of this information, it was a good idea for him to retire, because if he didn't, he was going to end up losing, because he almost lost that last fight. And now that I know more, he was not meant to be a heavyweight. He was always a middleweight. So he ended up gaining weight to fight in the heavyweight division, and that's just not where he's normally at. And I think that's why he had such difficulties. And in addition, he's heading towards the end of his career. So he's basically retiring before losing. That's like Mike Tyson retiring before he lost to Buster Douglas. And it's a smart move for him to retire earlier. I think that it's good to keep his record untarnished and just remain undefeated, to keep on fighting and just start racking up losses. I never think that's a good idea. It's not good for your health. It's not good for your, to build any type of legendary status. It diminishes your accomplishments. The fact that, Mike Tyson lost however many times he's lost, the fact that Pacquiao lost however many times he lost, the fact that Muhammad Ali lost how many times he's lost. I really like Muhammad Ali. I like Pacquiao. I like Tyson, but them losing doesn't make them look good, and it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't set the standard of what should be the ultimate boxer. That's what I like about Mayweather, is he's still undefeated, and he retired undefeated, and hopefully he remains undefeated. And Andre Ward, I didn't know he was undefeated. But now that I see his boxing record, I respect that, that he's undefeated, and I respect that he's retired early so that he can protect his health. From the few videos of the highlights that I did see of him, I even read some comments, people saying that he's more humble, and I respect that. His earlier videos and his earlier fights and some of the highlights that I saw, I did like what I saw. Like, he has good technique. And I saw some things on Wikipedia. Read some things about him. He said that he studied a lot of Floyd Mayweather, and I think he said he studied Bernard Hopkins a lot too, and somebody else that he studied, and he was trying to mimic, their movements, and you could see that in his movements. He fights very similar to Mayweather, but like a middleweight division, and also with a lot of punching power as well. So he's like a middleweight Floyd Mayweather, you know, but with more punching power. That was during his earlier years when he had all his energy and he was not getting older and tired and not in the light heavyweight division. His techniques that I saw in the highlight videos, I liked it, you know, and the fact of people saying that he's humble is a good thing. I definitely don't get that energy, that negative energy from his presence that I get from Deontay, you know, Wilder, for example. So Andre Ward, I think, you know, based on the limited information that I put into learning about him, you know, he seems like he's somebody worth learning from. You know, somebody to study and analyze. You know, and you know, boxing, it is what it is. You know, it's not good for your health and it's gonna destroy you. And even if he retires earlier than some other boxers, you know, it's guaranteed that he still sustained a lot of damage. His brain's guaranteed to be messed up. His health is guaranteed to be deteriorated compared to a person who's never been involved in boxing. But I just honestly feel that there's a lot of great boxers out there that are undefeated, or boxers out there that have been defeated, and we're just basically seeing the same stuff over and over again recycled. You know, and I'm not a big boxing fan. Actually, I disapprove of the sport in general, but I do recognize the talents and abilities of some of these boxers. But I prefer to watch basketball highlights where it's not about pounding somebody in or beating somebody down or putting somebody in the hospital or knocking somebody out. It's not a violent sport, and you see a lot of great basketball players out there that are playing now, and the basketball players that played in the past. And you see great boxers now, you see great boxers in the past, and it's just kind of, when is enough enough? You know, like, how many fights do we have to see? You know, it's pretty much the seeing Floyd Mayweather and then seeing Andre Ward is not too different to me. You know, seeing Mike Tyson and then seeing Deontay Wilder, it's not too different. I mean, we've already seen it. How many times do we need to see it again? You know, for me, I see Bruce Lee, and that's pretty much more than enough. You know what I mean? Like, Andre Ward is, you know, seems like he was a great boxer, but Bruce Lee's enough. We don't even really need to see Ward. We don't even really need to see Mayweather. Muhammad Ali is already pretty much enough. We don't even need to see Mike Tyson. We don't need to see none of these cage fighters. We don't need to see Deontay Wilder. We don't need to see Anthony Joshua. I mean, I've seen enough. You know, the greatest of the great is enough to study and learn from, and just the health, the detriments of your health that for what boxing represents is just something that is not good for society. But it's not gonna stop the boxing and its expression. And you know, I'll give my opinion on some of these recent boxers that are fighting, or some that have fought. But you see, the last fight that Anthony Joshua had, they stopped the match pretty early. The guy was still standing, and he wasn't even really dazed that much. He could have kept going, but they stopped it early because they know they're trying to make it's safer because of the CTE and because of just how brutal the sport is. It's just like, when it's pretty much determined, you already know who is the winner. You already know who's better. It doesn't really need to go on any further. So sometimes within the first round, you could already tell that this person doesn't have it in them. So why let him keep going for another 5 or 10 rounds to keep getting beat down until he's about to die? If it's an uneven match, it's an uneven match. Just let it go. Just like the last boxing match with Deontay Wilder against his opponent. He beat him in less than he beat him in the first round. And that was it. I mean, if it's an uneven match, it's just an uneven match. It doesn't have to keep going on and on and on and on, and then you're just basically seeing somebody getting killed in the ring. It's a brutal sport, and I don't necessarily promote people to get involved in that sport, but you can learn from the people that are in there, what they're doing, learn from the techniques, practice those techniques on your own, and practice it in a safer way, and let them get beat up in the ring while you learn from it, rather than going in there and getting beat up yourself. There's safer ways to learn how to fight and to defend yourself. And boxing in general is just it's not realistic anyway. As we all know, there's a lot of things that you can't do in boxing that you could do in real fighting. So martial artists will learn from the boxers, but they'll also learn from a lot of other people that are involved within the science of combat to improve upon their skill sets. And props to Andre Ward to be undefeated, and to retire undefeated. You can add him to the list with the Floyd Mayweather, who has remained undefeated and retired undefeated. So that I highly respect that. But as far as the sport of boxing in general, it's just simply not good for your health. And like I said, seeing the same stuff over and over again, no matter if it's Andre Ward, or Floyd Mayweather, or Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, it's just like all these boxers, in and out, Rocky Marciano. It's like, when is enough enough? Just basically learn what you need to learn and just move forward. That's what I recommend. I don't recommend to be influenced and to step in the ring yourself, and to sustain injuries and concussions and destroy your life. But this is a sport that is here, and it seems like it's going to remain for a very long time. But I do recognize the talent involved with some of the people that get involved, and I think that we should be more focused on the teachings of Bruce Lee. You can see that these people are using Bruce's teachings within their element of their sport, and Mayweather is an example. Andre Ward is an example of like putting into practice the scientific techniques of combat, making it work, and showing the effectiveness of it. And then now, we know what works, what doesn't work. We practice it, we get good at it, and then we use it to defend ourselves during dangerous encounters. So that's all I got to say about Andre Ward. So hopefully you got something out of the video, and stay safe.